Hello to all my YouTube viewers. This is but Blake Fannin. This is a what the heck? Oh man, crap! I accidentally had the camera turned the wrong way. YouTube viewers, pardon me. I'm having just a little bit of a technical difficulty. There we go. Now, listen, YouTube viewers. I'm sorry that I accidentally said crap. I accidentally had the camera turned the wrong way, but now we are live on the air. Listen, if you will look up, down, left, and right, you will see, if you watch the news and read Matthew 24, which we will do in just a moment or two. You will see that Jesus could come back any second. I repeat, if you will look up, down, left, right, he could come back any minute, any day, any time now. YouTube viewers, as I show you Matthew 24, look up, see if it's daylight or dark in the sky where you are. This is live as I am making this, but if it uploads to YouTube successfully, you should be able to watch it after it's done. This, I repeat, this is live on YouTube, but after it's done, you should be able to watch it. But look and see what time it is for you, and look and listen and see how soon the Lord could return. Come with me. And I repeat, YouTube viewers, I am live on the air right now. I am live on the air as we speak. Now, YouTube viewers, come with me. Now, listen to Matthew 24. Thank you.
Chapter 24. As Jesus was leaving the temple grounds, his disciples pointed out to him the various temple buildings. But he told them, "Do you see all these buildings? I assure you they will be so completely demolished that not one stone will be left on top of another." Later, Jesus sat on the slopes of the Mount of Olives. His disciples came to him privately and asked,
"When will all this take place? And will there be any sign ahead of time to signal your return and the end of the world?"
Jesus told them, "Don't let anyone mislead you. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Messiah.' They will lead many astray, and wars will break out near and far, but don't panic. Yes, these things must come, but the end won't follow immediately. The nations and kingdoms will proclaim war against each other, and there will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world. But all this will be only the beginning of the horrors to come. Then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. You will be hated all over the world because of your allegiance to me. And many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and will lead many people astray. Sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. But those who endure to the end will be saved. And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world, so that all nations will hear it. And then, finally, the end will come. The time will come when you will see what Daniel the prophet spoke about, the sacrilegious object that causes desecration standing in the holy place. Reader, pay attention. Then those in Judea must flee to the hills. A person outside the house must not go inside to pack. A person in the field must not return even to get a coat. How terrible it will be for pregnant women and for mothers nursing their babies in those days. And pray that your flight will not be in winter or on the Sabbath, for that will be a time of greater horror than anything the world has ever seen or will ever see again. In fact, unless that time of calamity is shortened, the entire human race will be destroyed, but it will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones. Then if anyone tells you, 'Look, here is the Messiah,' or 'There he is,' don't pay any attention. For false messiahs and false prophets will rise up and perform great miraculous signs and wonders so as to deceive, if possible, even God's chosen ones. See, I have warned you. So if someone tells you, look, the Messiah is out in the desert, don't bother to go and look. Or, look, he is hiding here, don't believe it. For as the lightning lights up the entire sky, so it will be when the Son of Man comes. Just as the gathering of vultures shows there is a carcass nearby, so these signs indicate that the end is near. Immediately after those horrible days end, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of heaven will be shaken. And then at last, the sign of the coming of the Son of Man will appear in the heavens, and there will be deep mourning among all the nations of the earth, and they will see the Son of Man arrive on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send forth his angels with the sound of a mighty trumpet blast, and they will gather together his chosen ones from the farthest ends of the earth and heaven. Now learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its buds become tender and its leaves begin to sprout, you know, without being told, that summer is near. Just so, when you see the events I've described beginning to happen, you can know his return is very near, right at the door. I assure you, this generation will not pass from the scene before all these things take place. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will remain forever. However, no one knows the day or the hour when these things will happen, not even the angels in heaven or the Son himself. Only the Father knows. When the Son of Man returns, it will be like it was in Noah's day. In those days before the flood, the people were enjoying banquets and parties and weddings right up to the time Noah entered his boat. People didn't realize what was going to happen until the flood came and swept them all away. That is the way it will be when the Son of Man comes. 2 men will be working together in the field. One will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding flour at the mill. One will be taken, the other left. So be prepared, because you don't know what day your Lord is coming. Know this, a homeowner who knew exactly when a burglar was coming would stay alert and not permit the house to be broken into. You also must be ready all the time, for the Son of Man will come when least expected. Who is a faithful, sensible servant to whom the master can give the responsibility of managing his household and feeding his family? If the master returns and finds that the servant has done a good job, there will be a reward. I assure you the master will put that servant in charge of all he owns. But if the servant is evil and thinks, my master won't be back for a while, and begins oppressing the other servants, partying and getting drunk, well, the master will return unannounced and unexpected. He will tear the servant apart and banish him with the hypocrites. In that place, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Chapter
Now,
25.
just a second.
The kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of 10 bridesmaids who took the...
Now, watch some of the news and see what they talk about. But before we go there, pardon any and all ads or interruptions. Thank you.
Wasn't an abuse of power?
No.
There are people who look at the incidents of the 90s and they say a president of the United States cannot have a consensual relationship with an intern. The power imbalance is too
Who was
great.
an adult. But let me ask you this. Where's the investigation of the current incumbent?
New York Times White House reporter Julie Hirschfeld Davis is back with us and joining us now, CNN legal analyst and civil rights attorney Areva Martin. What do you think of, in this Me Too era, her answer today?
Well, I think she's right. What happened between Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky was definitely not sexual assault. But where I disagree slightly with Secretary of Clinton is that the power issue. Clearly, there was an imbalance of power. Now, we don't know if there was an abuse of power. From what I have read in terms of what Monica Lewinsky has always said, she said it was a consensual relationship between 2 adults. And one thing I think is important to note with the Me Too movement, this is about women having access to equality in the workplace, being in workplaces that are safe. But it doesn't mean that women can't have consensual relationships in the workplace. So I don't think anyone who's standing up for Me Too is saying that we should do away with or prohibit women from having consensual relationships. power is an important issue, though, particularly when you're talking about the president and an intern.
Because Hillary Clinton's getting a lot of criticism for those remarks. Monica Lewinsky was a 22-year-old intern, so legally she's an adult, and it was consensual. She wanted this, he wanted it. But the point being that he's president of the United States, and she's a 22-year-old intern.
Right, no question. And so much of the Me Too movement and what we've seen emerge from some of these revelations that we've learned about over the last couple of years, or the last year and a half really, is about women going back and reassessing things that they have been involved in, relationships that they were in, and deciding that while it may have seemed consensual at the time, it was actually something that was inappropriate and they felt taken advantage of. And so for her to sort of shut that down and say, no, it wasn't an abuse of power, it was a striking thing for her to say, and I think probably was at odds with what so many women who are really sort of reckoning with the Me Too movement are thinking right now, and not to mention very much at odds with where a lot of the Democratic base is right now, and where Democrats as a party want to see the upsurge around these midterm elections. There are, they think there's a real opportunity to capitalize on the fact that women are angry about what's been going on, the power dynamics in society that they think are wrong, that the president represents to them, that the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation battle represented to them, and having a prominent Democratic woman come forward and say, you can't look at this power dynamic and say that this was inappropriate, or that in retrospect it wasn't the right thing. That's something that's very much at odds with what's going on in the grassroots right now, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think Hillary Clinton would deny that there was an imbalance of power between the president and the intern. But one thing I think Democrats shouldn't do is play into this Republican GOP narrative that somehow we should disavow what Bill Clinton did and not focus on what Donald Trump is doing. And I think that's what Hillary Clinton did so brilliantly in that interview. It says, okay, we can talk about what Bill Clinton did in the 90s, but let's talk about what Donald Trump is doing currently. All the women that have come forward and made accusations against him, we don't see the same kind of movement happening in the Republican base to cause Donald Trump to resign from office. We don't see GOP senators or congressmen coming forward to say that his conduct, which we now know has been pretty egregious leading up to his election to the presidency, that should be disqualifying for him as president of the United States. So I think the Democrats have to stay focused on what the issue is. And the issue is winning the midterm elections in 2018, winning the White House in 2020, and you're not going to find a bigger advocate for the Me Too movement than I am. But I do think we have to respect the difference between sexual assault and consensual relationships. We should talk about the imbalance of power, but we should absolutely distinguish between those relationships that are consensual and those that are not.
A lot of Democrats are wondering, is Hillary Clinton, with 3 weeks to go until the midterms, an asset or a liability to fellow Democrats?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. I think in having her come forward in this context, it has a lot of Democrats on edge. I don't think that they think that that's necessarily the context in which they would like to see her. I noticed that we don't see Bill Clinton out campaigning for Democratic candidates. There's a competitive race in Arkansas. We don't see him being called upon to participate in that. And so I think for a lot of Democrats, they want to be looking forward. They want to be presenting an alternative that's something different from Donald Trump and that's something different from Hillary Clinton, because to Democrats, they need to seize on the energy they have now in their minds in order to try to take back one house of Congress or both houses.
Yeah, Julie and Ariva, guys, thank you very, very much. Important issues to discuss. Coming up, President Trump talks climate change, claiming it will change back again, but may not be tied to human behavior.
Guys, it's your time.
Okay, 1 second. Come on. How do I change that view earlier? Here we go. Okay. Are we live? Yeah. YouTube viewers, listen. I had no idea what they were gonna be talking about on the news, but I am trying to only show you things that are related to Bible prophecy, so please continue watching. Whenever that they're on a commercial, I'll try to play some music for you, so that way you won't feel so bored. But please pardon me if I get interrupted during this live stream. Thank you. Now, 1 second. If you have a Amazon Echo, I advise you to unplug it or take it in another room. If I can find my phone, I'll set my timer and give you 10 seconds. Or I'll count them myself. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. 1 second. Alexa, play Christian music from my library.
Shuffling Top Christian from Spotify.
Okay, YouTube viewers, thank you. Just give me another moment. I have no idea what's going on with these technical difficulties. So, if I don't hear something from Alexa soon, then I'll just end this live stream and finish this through recorded video. But thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll give it about 15 more seconds. Okay, this is the end of this live stream. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. And this is only part 1. Thank you.